Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get Insta going. Okay. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Cynthia On Demand. And we will be connecting in and seeing how we can serve you today. All right, I think we're rolling on everything. Let me just check. Yep, here we go. Say hi. Hey on Facebook. Hi on Insta. And those of you that are on the VIP, on the mastermind, come over to Holistic Mystic so that we can smoothly transition. So how are you today? I was starting to tell a story. So again, I'm Cynthia Harrison from Rhombus Healing Arts and Spirit Whisperer. And we show up here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 2 p.m. and 9 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. So you can do the transition on that or have a look at the posts. And I try to keep up with all your time changes, but it can be tricky with all the daylight savings around the globe. They're all different. So Hawaiian Standard Time doesn't change all year. So if ever you're wondering, or what time is that for me, always go back to the Hawaiian Standard Time to check. Yeah. All righty. What are we going to talk about today? Well, let me tell you. Hey, Kim. Hey, Lisa. And hey, Sonograph. Yeah. Hey, how are you? I remember you. We've had some conversations. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story because I said that I would go into this yesterday. And then we're going to do a little bit of a teaching. Well, it's all a little sort of message for you to contemplate. And then after that, we'll go into the mastermind, which is on the Zoom link. So if you ever want to join us on that, go to the link, Holistic Mystic, either on Instagram in the profile or Facebook. You'll see in the ads daily the links. And you can come and join us on Zoom, which is where today, so those of you watching, are you coming over? Because yesterday I was saying I didn't have pants on, meaning long pants on, to show them particular points that we're going into. So we're going to do that today. We're going to do that. Not in this part, but in the second part. So we are going to go into those points of over and under energy. I scanned a bunch of you yesterday, and we can re-scan those energies to see where you're at today and what you're particularly needing today, and then how I can watch and monitor how these particular tools impact your system and whatnot. So that's that. But for now, we're going to go into a little story time. So yesterday we were talking about color a little bit. And, you know, I'm primarily a creative. I came out of the womb with a paintbrush in hand, I'm sure of it. Actually, I started as a sculptor. So I'm formally trained as a sculptor and contemporary artist. However, that was in my later years. As a kid, you know, I wasn't planning to tell you this story, but it makes sense. So were any of you the kids that didn't get picked up from school? Your parents forgot about you. Anyone? Just me? Or me, my brother, and my sister. My mum worked 2 jobs. She's an awesome mum, still is. But she worked damn hard to house us and put food on the table. So she worked 2 jobs, day and night. So we really weren't parented. We were a bit feral, meaning, there was no adults around to tell us what to do. And which is a blessing in a way, because I don't have a box that I was put in. None of us. We're all very broad thinkers and creatives and whatnot. But because of that, the principal at the primary school, so this is when I was a real little kid, like, 7, 8, 9. So we'd be waiting for mum to pick us up, and it'd be hours and there'd be no one at the school. And the principal, they couldn't leave until, they couldn't just leave us there. So what they did was, this principal, I'll never forget it, Mr. Hollins, if you are still around, I remember you fondly. He taught me how to paper mache, like full body things, and paint the emblems for the school. And so my artwork from very young was all over the place. I became like the school artist. So, I mean, there's a blessing in the curse. You feel like, oh, you're not important enough or special enough to be remembered by your mum. But as you grow up, you realize if you're working multiple jobs, you can't just walk out. You can't just say, oh, do you know what I mean? Back in those days, there was no payments for single mums or support, right? So many of you, I mean, I noticed around the world, I've traveled broadly, there are places where you could work 5 jobs and not get, meet your needs, your basic needs. So anyway, that's a little story about a bit about how I'm a little wild and mysteriously creative, because that's how they entertained us and helped us, I guess, keep from freaking out that we were left, right? So mum would eventually turn up, but there'd be always something that her job, she couldn't just say, oh, I need to go, or she would lose a job and then we wouldn't have a house or food, right? So, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. We weren't even dragged up. You know how people say I wasn't brought up, I was dragged up? We weren't even that. We were just surviving in the bush. I was a bush kid. So back to the colors, the crayons that I touched on yesterday. And, I was asking people, did they have those boxes of, those big Crayola boxes? Those massive big Crayola boxes. Because somebody was telling me, everybody had them. And I'm like, we didn't have them. Did you have them? We didn't have them. And I think it might be a cultural thing too, because this person was from the US. And I don't know if Crayola is a US company, but, and it doesn't matter. But my point is, I lived in the bush. We had beehives and chickens and goats and pigs and horses and cows. I had a pet cow, Edna. When I was a real little kid, Dad used to put me on her. We were bush kids, which is a little different to farm kids. Anyway, I won't go into that today. So we learnt through nature. We learnt through being in the earth and in the trees, Edna the cow, and building cubby houses and making our own fun, right? Making our own entertainment and scaring each other. I'll tell you some of those stories another time, but, it wasn't pleasant what, the kids would get up to. And, anyway, so I'm going into other story. I wanted to tell you about the colors because this is what happened yesterday. I went on a tangent, the colors. So I won't say I would have killed for the colors because I wouldn't have at that age, or even now. But I was a creative. I loved to write poetry. I would lay under the trees in primary school and look up at the trees. And me and my friend Wendy, we would make up poems. That's what we would do. We would lay there and look at the nature, and I would just make up. I still do it to this day, but I don't write them down or anything. I literally will sit, have a cup of tea, and I'll just start. I call it spoken word. I just start speaking. I guess you'd call it poetry in a way, or like the beatniks used to do, spoken word, song, whatnot. It's all creative. Or I would draw it, or I would write words or symbols that reflected what I saw in the world or what I felt in the world. So these amazing colors, and I was saying, like there's a melted one here. So these aren't ones I actually use. Interestingly enough, I used to buy packets of these really cheap, and I'm talking only maybe 10 years ago, and I would melt them and create artworks with them, and I would embed them in resin, and so I've got like full big canvases like this, but they're clear, you can see through them, and they've got shavings and melted crayon within them. So all sorts of things we can do with crayon. But my point is, if you're all these colors, and you are, or you were, so feel that. This is about 24, I believe, maybe 20 crayons, okay? All the colors. Well, they're not actually all the colors, but we've got pastels here too. Got some pastels. I just want you to see the colors, right? Do you have a favorite color? Or if you do have crayons, or I've got pencils here, Progressos. Who knows about Progressos? Oh, they're my favorite. You know why? They're my kids' favorites too. They don't have any wood. They're just the whole thing. I'll show you. This one I carry. It's been all over the world with me. I'll show you them. Because the whole pencil is color. So you can make it into a point. You can, like, there's no wood, or there's a little sort of coating on it, but the whole thing is the pencil, and they last forever. I've had this, well, I don't even know how long I've had those, right? These are another one that I travel with. They're watercolor. So you may not be an artist, but my point is about the color. So these are crayons, but if you've got a journal and you're traveling, or you're not, you don't want to do a big painting or a big expression, these are watercolors. So you carry these with you with one of those paint brushes that I've got one over there. I'll get it in a moment. And you fill the paintbrush with water and you squeeze it. The water comes out of the bristles. So you don't need much, right? And you can do this. You can bring color. So my point is that you have these colors. You're born into these colors. You are the rainbow plus, because every color of the rainbow, right? They say there's 7, but every color. So the red, for instance, within the red then has another 7, and each 7 of the 7 has another 7, and each one of those 7 has another 7. Can you even comprehend the amount of color and frequency that is? And those of you that train with me, I've shown you imagery of the frequencies in the technologies we've been working on for years. And there's so many because it's frequency, right? And there's so many nuances. And you think I'm talking about crayons. You think I'm talking about artwork. I'm talking about you as human beings and what colors you chose as your favorite. Does anyone like brown or dark blue or these are small packets. In Australia, I've got like all the tones. I've done full-on paintings mixing blacks. Did you know that you can mix your own blacks? This is about tone and frequency. And you are all those colors. But some of them might get melted, lost, broken, discarded as not as important as other colors. So what colors, what aspects of self have you maybe left behind, lost, melted, broken, given away, covered, coated, forgotten about? Maybe it's sepia, maybe it's silver, maybe it's mulberry or periwinkle, maybe it's pine green. I remember there was a green that when I started professionally doing folk art. I don't know if you know what folk art is, but it's like peasant art, right? And this is my teenage years. I used to do it on commission because people would see me painting furniture and my cupboards and things around my own home, and they would come and visit and say, "Oh, can you do one for me?" And I ended up getting just taking photos of everything that I painted or I made, some French polishing and all that sort of stuff too. And they would choose it. And I just do it for friends' birthdays or, for their parents or their children or whatever. And that's just how I started my side hustle, folk art. But there was a color that reminds me that sap green that you couldn't buy. I had to make it. And I would keep it in a little jar. You couldn't buy it. It was a particular tone. I could have used another green, but I wanted that particular green for the flowers or the, leaves or the tree or the whatever it was. That frequency was what I wanted for that. So I made it, I created it. So I'm saying, what colors do you know of? What frequency, what aspects of self do you know of that you have or had that you may have lost or put to the back? Or, you've got to brush off the cobwebs a little. And you've chosen maybe 3 colors, and that's what you lead with in life, these 3 colors. And those 3 colors could be the primary colors that make up a lot of the, right? If you think about that. When I first started oil painting, I think I had 4 or 5 tubes of paint. That was it. And I could make pretty much any color. You have to know how to mix to a degree, but you can get one of those color wheels and work it out. It's not that hard, right? So the box starts to get depleted. So there was 24 in this. I don't even know where this box came from. It was when I found it at the back, but it's certainly not full. So there probably are colors missing. Would I even know what colors were missing? unless I knew what was in the box to start with. Do you remember the colors in your box? So I'm just going to check the chats. Is this, are you feeling it? You feeling what I'm saying? A little, a lot, not at all? Right? So we start out using all the colors, and eventually there's a depletion, right? Over time. And I guess what I'm saying is, I want to help you draw with all the colors in your life again. I want your life to be rich and beautiful, like a rainbow. Right? I want to help you get back your golden colors and your grays and silvers and your mulberry or cornflower blues, your melon, your maroon, so that you can embrace all the textures and tones, the love and the fear. Oh, what? What? The love and the fear, and all the tones of that, aka all the emotions, all the aspects between those polarities, those poles. We could even go into, we won't, but I'm just going to say it here, emotional literacy. How you speak and how you express emotion. What words do you say? If someone says, how you going, or how you doing today, or you say, good, I'm good, or I'm all right. Nothing wrong. Like, it's not, it's a curiosity. Yeah. It's like, oh, am I saying that because ... Is that person available to hear how I'm really going, how I am in the world? Do they want to know the R-ing from 1 to 10? And if you're R-ing at 5, what that actually means? Oh, you're 5. You know, could go either way at 5. What do you need to be a 10 or even an 8? How are you today? Write in the chat. Humor me. Write in the chat. How are you today? Use a number first, but then see if you can get a word to the number. Like, what would that word be? So how you are, meaning how you feel that sensation in your body. How are you today? Oh, I'm a 6 and it's buzzy. I'm an 8 and it's blissy. What's that? My hands are doing it. You know, I talk a lot with my hands because sometimes it's tricky to get those intricacies, those tones. You with me? Now, most people don't care enough to stop and hear how you are, what you're sensing. Not because they want misdeeds or, anything, I don't even want to say any words, whatever, ... right? They're in their own world. Maybe you're in your own world. And this is why it's so important, in my opinion, to have a relationship with yourself, with your physical body and the sensations within the physical body that come via the energetics into the nervous system. So through the energetic nervous system into the physiological nervous system. And you understand, oh, I'm feeling or experiencing this sensation in my body, which gives me the word, the emotion, the thought, the feeling. Yeah. This is how we work with our fear. Or we don't even work. We have a relationship. Have a relationship with our fear and our love. But most of humanity are going straight to love. And then you've just got a pure white, pure black, or pure white. That's your life. Love, fear, or love, fear, depending how you look at it. Doesn't matter. Yeah. There's no dimension. This painting's a work in progress, but to pull those faces forward, I need to bring in light. To push parts of it back, I need to bring in the depth of the dark. So in between is dark. I've just pushed the top here back to bring the hand forward. Now, I could have brought more lights into the hand to bring it forward, or I can bring more darks around it to bring it forward. Dimensionality. So with minimum color, with minimum crayons in your box, there's less dimensionality. It's not. This is, so as I'm saying it, that's not like truth. You understand that? Because as I said it, I can do whole artworks with just a black and a white pastel or crayon. And I have, and I do. Right? But there's more skill in that. How many layers, how heavy, all of that. It's more difficult. So we have these colors, we have these vibrations, we have these frequencies, we have love and fear. Pardon me. And how I share this with you is through the energetic understandings and the mystic path, right? By sharing those mystic truths, the seeds of where all the ancient ways expand from, we could say, the tree of information, or the light and dark, the love and fear. Within the center of that love and fear, or you could see it as the infinity, is the neutrality. Where you sit there and you can see all the colors. You can experience all the colors and not be judging them as right or wrong. So that could be all the humans. That could be all the experiences. That could be everything that's in your life at the moment. How you're viewing it, is that the truth? Or is it the way that your colors, your tones, the ones that you're leading with, tell that particular story? I should do, it might not be that interesting to you, but I literally, if I chose one color and told, well, there's 6 sides to this, right? Four sides and top and bottom. If I told 6 different stories about this purple, are you looking at all the aspects of the one experience, the one sensation, and how you choose unconsciously most of the time, how you choose which one's going to be leading with. So this end, I'm going to lead the purple story from here. Is it even purple? Some people won't see that as purple. So it's purple to me. It doesn't mean that it's purple. I mean, it can do your head in. I'm really big on meaning making, words and how we describe things. And I'm sure I'm really annoying, but whatever. I like to know what meaning somebody is bringing in a conversation. So I'll ask, what do you mean when you say this? Like, what's that mean? Like, not in an arrogance, as in, help me understand more about you and how you see and move through the world. I'm interested. Oh, you see it like that. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. So then the next time I'm seeing, say, that purple, I've got your meaning and my meaning and maybe a bunch of other people's meanings. What's right or wrong? Maybe all of those meanings are correct to some degree, and they all make up the whole. So I'm just getting you to think about like how we know, what we believe, what view, what lens we're looking through, where that lens comes from, how that lens covers our colors. Da, 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 da. All right. Can you see? I made this for you yesterday. Some of you would have done it in kindergarten. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but we could call this, we could say it's black, but if you know, what tone of black, what type of black, we could go into, we could do a whole hour on, you know, the color black. But is it even a color? Okay, we're just going to leave that there. We're not doing color theory today. But say that's this is a representation of your world, how you see the world, right? So we're gonna do an experiment. What's a word? I need your help. So, all right, I'm gonna look in the chat from if there's words in there already. Flowing. Okay, flowing. Never thought of. Okay, but Lisa's put in flowing from the question before. But if you're watching even on Facebook, Rumbus Healing Arts, or Instagram, I can see your comments. In the Zoom, we've got flowing, but maybe put in some words. And I'm gonna write some of these words. I want to just give you a demonstration of something, and we're just going to see if it works. Okay, see if it's showing you something about your life. It may not. I'm being curious. We're doing an experiment. So Lisa said flowing. I don't know if you want to change that, but if I said, what's covering you or your view in the world? So you could say fear. You could say freedom. okay, lack of, constriction, could say health. You might be particular and say anxiety, pain, or even a particular pain, back pain. Like, what is coating your experience of life? Does that make sense? What's coating? Anyone? Anyone? What do you say, Rebel? I can't read your lips today. You're a bit further back. Oh, you want me to read your mind? All right. Okay. Might be finances, responsibility. Okay. Yeah. So let's do those ones. Feel free to put them in the chat. I'm not sure how I can do this. I'll do it up here like this. Can you see? I'll bring it close if it doesn't work. All right. So we're going to do flow first because it's smaller, because this may not work. I haven't tried it out, but we're going to do flow, right? You see? I'll bring it closer in a minute. Then we could do Rebel's responsibility. I'll just write responsible. Can you see the revelation of the color under the black? So maybe we write fear of fear. So this isn't a pen. It's actually a computer pen. It doesn't have a thing. I'm not writing it. I'm just scratching it off, right? Actually, probably works better with the nail. Fear of fear. What's covering your colors? Oh, health. Okay. I'm ambidextrous. I literally am. I broke my left arm so many times when I was a kid. Had to learn how to write right-handed. What's covering? What's coating? What needs to be cleared or build a relationship with? This darkness, black, this paint, this flow, fear, health, responsibilities, financial, survival, relationship. It's all fear or fear of love. It's not love or fear. It's the fear of fear. It's the fear of the pain, the discomfort, the lack of flow. So I say, if it's responsibility, what is it about responsibility that creates that? Is it is it the felt sense that over responsibility or over commitment or whatever that is for you, how that feels in the body, that constriction? Does it create overwhelm for you? So that could be overwhelm, right? So when we come up with a word or a story, it's about looking at, okay, that's just what's, but we can go into it more. Because ultimately it'll be the sensation in the body. What's the sensation? Because it comes through the nervous system, love or fear. And that is just life, love and fear, light and dark, heaven and earth, masculine and feminine. There's nothing right or wrong about either one of them in their essence. It's how we bring in the story and coat or cover. So there's multiple ways of looking at what I just said, right? So there's how we view our world and what, the saying, what goggles or what glasses we have on at the time that we're looking. And that will be the colors. Oh, that reminds me of chalkboard, not doing that. Right? The colors that are prominent for you. So that's a rainbow under there. I was meticulous at making sure I got every color under there. Yesterday, I was like, so there's multiple disciplines, there's multiple ways of getting to what, first of all, knowing what your primary or prominent colors are, frequency, right? Who you are, that circle, that center, that has all the colors, all of who you are. We're going to go into the mastermind in a minute. I just want to finish this piece off. Right. So this center, so you can look at it like that, or again, we're talking about multiple perspectives. So you could look at it like this, that center, in here, pardon me, all your colors, your life experience, early childhood, your attachment, trauma, all the rest, all your experiences are in here. This is what creates the covering. You could see it as covering, right? And then what's shown to the world of all of these colors has to go through the darkness. And this is what you show in the world. This is how you behave. This is how you are in the world here. So it could look like that. Now, I could have done another picture that just had all the colors, but I haven't. So you have to imagine it, right? A rainbow upon rainbow upon rainbow, all the colors, all the tones. And that's who you are. You're all of it. And those of you that hear me speak, multiple times a week, I've shown you this model how many times? This is another perspective. It's another way to make meaning out of the same information. I will continue to do that because I'm looking at what perspective you're looking at me from, what perspective you're hearing what I'm saying from, right? So I will say it in every aspect of a diamond. You know, the diamond where they're like this. This is how I look at life. These are cut diamonds or crystals, they have all the different facets. And when you look through it, it's like all these different perspectives on the one thing. Which one's right? What will be right or correct or feel most comfortable for you will be related to maybe this bit or this bit or this bit or this bit, because you've been programmed, you've been encoded, you've learnt You've laid it down in your memory in a particular way. So how your brain is wired together, right? How it fires, how experience out here fires something in here. So this color is tainted by there. You may not be tainted. It may be awesome. That's why it's love and fear. Fear of love. So you had this awesome relationship here. So here you're coming in and it's like la, 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 la. And then there's a memory of being loved so well that your physical body couldn't hold it, couldn't hold the experience of that infinite love. And so it might go into overwhelm. You might get a sensation of it's too much, it's too much. I see it all the time because when we're working with the beloved, with spiritual connection, people have those direct connections and it's so much love that they find it really difficult because there's still some of this creating constriction. And it's not the constriction that's the issue. It's understanding it and being conscious of it. So when you're conscious and you have a restriction, you can go, oh, so you've met somebody here and it's coming back this way. And you remember this love, so you want it, but you also have this physiological response in your body, sensation that reminds you of this, sets you off a little in the fear of love. So you end up sabotaging or pushing that experience away. And it's not one, like it's one that you think it's what you've always wanted. Have any of you experienced that? Either in your spiritual, spiritual development or in your physical relationships, or like getting the job you always wanted, and when you got it or had the opportunity to step into it, you freaked out somehow. Insert, whatever freaked out is for you, right? So it could be just an overwhelm, an anxiety, or you get really low or you start to get sick. You might get a sore throat when you get a particular speaking engagement that you really, really wanted. And you start to get a sore throat. Or, so this is unconscious. Or, so I used to say to my boss when I had one years ago, he would, we noticed that when people would have their holidays, they always got sick. But year after year after year, they'd have their holidays, and that's when they would get sick. And I said to him, and they always laughed at my suggestions, but they're really quite, I mean, think about this. I said, we need a holiday before our holiday so that we can get sick, recover. And so there's some genius in that madness, right? The better way of looking at that, or a more effective way of looking at that, is that when we are, we're pushing and pushing and pushing in our life and going, oh, we've got a holiday coming up, or we've got a time off coming up, or whatever, and I'll stop then. Or when I get this, or when I have that, or when this happens, then. How can you be conscious in your everyday? And it might not be all day, every day, but how can you bring that space into your everyday? It's just a contemplation. We can talk about it another day. That's why I have the last month. And I know, I hear you. Not everybody has my life. But I didn't have my life years ago either. How I've set my life up now I had to make sacrifices. I chose. So I have the last week off of the month every month. That's why I only do these 3 weeks of the month. I still work. I just don't do on Zoom. You know, I give myself that break and that space. And in that space, I miss you all like I do. You can ask Eric. I keep thinking I have to show up, and I'm like, oh no, I don't have to show. Okay, what am I gonna? And I create, and I start to, like, the stuff that comes out in the space will amaze you. Give yourself some space, even if it's like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. For me, I need more. The way that my brain works, I go very deep. So 10 or 20 minutes doesn't cut it for me. Because by the time I start writing, then it's time to stop. Or by the time I start creating, then it's time to stop. So I need more time. I know myself well enough. And, it's about, okay, if you're the same, then maybe having that as a goal, to have that space, and negotiating things. When I worked for an organization, I never worked full time. What I would do is I'd work part-time in one job. So it might be 3 to 4 days a week. And I would take locum jobs. And when anybody was, on their maternity leave or anything like that, in the whole organization. So I got to do multiple jobs. I could do anything in that organization. It was a huge organization. And I got to, that's a skill of mine. I can step into any job and very quickly understand the mechanisms of what that job entails. Because it was all working with people, obviously, but it was like aged care, or working with kids, or working with prisoners, or, whatever. Like, it's all working with people, but working in hospitals, right? But I had my main job, and I did that so that I could say yes or no. When I wanted to do a bit more, when I wanted to learn something else, whatever, right? That might mean that, depending what the job is. So I know not everybody can do that, but there were times when I couldn't do that either. And I had to work, like, the hours I worked were ridiculous when my kids were young. Right? And then I went into the army, and that was even more ridiculous, but a different story. All right. So can you see this model? We'll wrap it up now. I know it looks like a mess if you're just looking at it now, but what we're talking about is who you are, that true self, that mindful awareness in the center. In here, you could say that central core, right? And here is like all the experiences that have been encoded and conditioned, and our unconscious behaviors. So in the Relevate program, that's what we're touching into. That's what I'm helping you touch into. It might be that dot, or that squiggle, or that big one, so that you can get conscious of it. When you're conscious of what's covering your colors, when you're conscious of that, how then you bring it, we call it bringing it through the core organizers, right, of the system, how we do that. Then you're conscious of it on, how the sensation, the emotion, the thoughts, all the bits. But you can just start here with that one. Just being conscious of the sensation in the body is building a relationship with fear. It's not about getting away from it. It's building a relationship to go, oh, I feel fear, before you bring it back in to go, oh, it must be all this stuff, and start spinning into the fear of fear, or the shadow of the fear of fear. It goes deeper into the dark, spinning, spiraling, spinning. But when you can just go, oh, here it is. I feel it in my body in this way. There's a sensation here. What is that sensation? Oh, there's a fear here. You may not know what it is, but just that, acknowledging it, will assist that consciousness. When you're conscious, there's a part of the brain called the hippocampus that one of its main jobs is to integrate aspects of the different memory. So that experience has a full memory of it, rather than this being hidden and you're behaving and sabotaging, a beautiful experience, something that you've really wanted, or colors that you want to bring into the world, right? You're aware that that's happening, and then you can choose. You know how I talk about not being able to choose with your free will? That's why. You can only choose what you can see, what you understand, what you're aware of. If all of this is unconscious, all these colors are unconscious, how can you choose the yellow or the pink? You're only able to choose what you have access to. Am I making sense? So when you're aware and you can be conscious of the experience, the hippocampus can integrate that experience, and the charge that's in your body that creates the sensation to try and bring your awareness to it can be discharged through the body, and there's your extra energy for the day or for your life. Because while that's covered, while that pink or that 475 hertz or that 300 hertz, like every color is a frequency. There's charge. While that's being held back, you're not working at your full capacity. So next time you hear somebody say full potential, remember the colors and what, right? Maybe, I don't know. So that's what I'm passionate about, sharing with you all and myself, and practicing being conscious and being aware. Okay, what am I feeling? What is that? And then what can I do? What can I choose to shift? And I may not choose anything. So if I find that I'm pushing someone away or something away, an experience away, it might be a pain or a sensation. If I'm pushing it away, why? What's the behavior? Where's that coming from? And then it's okay. If I want to still push it away, at least I'm conscious that I'm pushing it away. I'm okay with the fear. It's not saying you have to do anything with it. It's just about being aware that that's the behavior. And the more that you're aware of the behavior, the less likely you're going to do it, and create something else. And then you're going to have to deal with this something else experience, and then tell a story about how difficult it is, but you created it. Oh, look, put up your hand. Am I talking crap or not? Like, can you connect to what I'm saying? I can. I've created all my crap most of my life. I know I've done it. And I move fast, but I fail fast. When I fall forwards. Think about that, because when I fall, I'm still moving forwards towards my goal. Whatever that might be. It might be to be conscious. So, okay, I trip up and I was unconscious, and maybe I projected something onto someone or something. Or I got scared because I had an opportunity, and so something started to come in, and how I could hold that, work with that, be with that experience, that sensation in my body. Maybe I need to bring in some tools and resources. Okay. So in a moment, we're going to, oh, we've gone. Last time I looked at the clock, I was right on time, and now I'm like way over. All right. I get passionate. I get so passionate. Oh, well. All right. So we're going to go into the mastermind now. We're going to go over some points, some energy medicine. Well, we'll see, because we've got some different people here today. So we'll head off over there. Let me know, for those of you that are in, watching on Facebook or Instagram. Pardon me. What rang true? What you thought was total BS? I'm open. I'm open to learning from you, hearing your experiences. What was a little aha, or maybe even feel free to private message me too if there's something that's a bit more private you want to share. But we'll continue unfolding, sharing, seeing all the different perspectives for how we move through our world and our life. And there's lots of different perspectives. There's different perception. We're all human beings, right? We're all from the same species, I'm assuming, right? Never know. But we're as individual as our handprint or our iris. So we have different experiences, but generally how our systems work, there's a handful of ways. So with energy, we were talking yesterday with the energy of triple warmer in particular, which is the yang arm of the energetic nervous system, how some people are under energy and some people are over energy on that. And this is why that next level, that deeper level of understanding energetics, is looking at what is right for you, right? So that's why when I say it's energy medicine first aid, that's when that technique is for anybody, even pets, because it's not going to harm you. When we start to get to the more advanced energetics, then it's particular for what's going on for that particular person or that particular energy system, right? So, it's about testing the energy before and after, and seeing, how you felt, how your body responds to it. So that's why we go to Zoom, so that I can see you and talk to you, and we can trial things and whatnot. So, all right, we're going there now. And I'll be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, and we'll continue our conversation. So I hope to see you then. Until then, may the blessings be for those on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, wherever else you're watching. Okay, let us say ciao.